Hey everybody, and welcome back to Tenza Motorsports. Today we're going to be doing a really simple project. Well, it's simple in terms of explaining it, but it's a little bit more complicated to actually do it because you want to make sure you do it just right. Measure twice, cut once kind of thing. Before we get into what we're doing today, make sure you are subscribed to the channel, like if you enjoy this type of content. Also make sure to check us out on Instagram, Tenza_Motorsports. We do giveaways. All of our followers are automatically entered to win giveaways. This is the black E46 race car, originally an M3, and we have now converted it to a supercharged M54 B30. Today we're going to be doing some canards. So these are canard, whatever. These are from AJ Hartman, and I have the exact same ones on my car. We were thinking about doing different ones on this car, but nobody else does a double design that's kind of roughly this size. They're all either really small or like the single ones, and she didn't really care much for the single ones. So we're gonna be doing the same ones that we had. I bought the ones that were not glossed, that did not have the clear coat on them, and then I took them to work and I clear coated them. Not that I don't trust their clear coat, but that I just know for sure that they're good and they're ready to go. Oftentimes clear coat on carbon fiber isn't really very UV protectant and can come off fairly easily. Again, I don't know what clear coat AJ Hartman would have been doing, but for example, I just know that, especially getting stuff from like China, cheaper stuff, you can get clear coat that comes off really quickly. And like I said, you want to measure twice, cut once, measure 50,000 times and drill one hole. We're going to be using a threaded insert. A lot of people call them rivnuts, like a rivet, but you would use a similar tool and it's basically inserting a nut, and then you can use a screw. That way, if I ever wanted to take these off, you can just take the screws, bolts out, whatever you decide to use, and then they can come off of the vehicle. The plan with these today are to have them separated as far as they can be, parallel and as far back on the bumper as possible. And the reason for that is that as your bumper curves, the further forward they are, you'll start hitting the canard at the side instead of hitting it going the direction it's designed to. So the other thing we'll be doing is kind of a tool review. This is my first time using this. I bought it a while back and I was going to use it for a different project. In fact, I think I might have purchased it for these vents, but we did the rivets on these. IUITO? IUIDO? I don't know. Here's how you spell that, whatever it is. I think this one you see rebranded like a bazillion different times. You can get this with the inserts and all the different heads for like 30 to 60 bucks, depending on which listing. I'll try to find this exact same one, but it's basically the ones that you see all over Amazon when you search these up. It's a very basic design, but I'm going to be showing how to use this, kind of like a tool review. So let's go swap the head on this, and I'll show how to do that, how easy it is. I'll show you some of the hardware, and then we'll start getting these put on the car. So here is that insert tool, and it comes with, this one here came loose. So the tool didn't have a case or anything like that. These were all just in kind of like bags. But again, I think I paid like 35 or 40 bucks for it, something like that. If you just bought a set of these, they can be 20 or 30 bucks just for a variety pack of just the inserts. And so to have the tool and the inserts and all of the different size heads to install all these for around 35, 40, 45 bucks, it's really a pretty good deal. I got this right here from Harbor Freight. I think these are like 20 bucks. It comes with an assorted thing of screws. I bought a couple of them, and I just moved all the hardware out of these ones into those two, and then I've been using the top two. They all lock together, so you can just buy these. That's like another 20 bucks. I think it's worth it. I'm going to show you how to remove this and install the different sizes of heads real quick. Then we'll start measuring these canards out and make sure they go exactly where they're supposed to. So right now we've got the M8 on there. All of these are labeled, which is kind of cool. It does come with a removal tool, and so I'll show you how to do that real quick. So the top of this will spin off. I've already got it loose, but basically there's a collar here, and that collar will actually dictate how far you end up pulling your insert. So you want to make sure that you're keeping an eye on that, and then you're not ripping your insert that you just installed back out. So what we're gonna be doing is removing this collar here at the top. Then sliding this down will reveal the hex that you need to loosen to get this removed. We'll take our tool here, and then we'll put this over with our M8 stuff. We'll install the new one. You don't have to like crank this down, just make sure it's on there. The other piece that needs to be removed is the top of this. And again, this all-in-one tool has all the sizes that you need. We'll put that over there with the M8, put the new one in, and then spin this all back together. Well, maybe I just got super lucky, but I think they're sitting roughly where they should be. I really like the way these look. So again, I'm gonna double check the measurements here, make sure they're exactly where I want them to be. And then all you do is you'll push this up against the car and you'll either draw a circle in there with like a marker, red marker, black marker, if black shows up on black, but you wanna make sure you hit the center of that hole. And once we're at that point, we'll take a drill bit. There's nothing really behind this bumper in here, especially where we're only gonna be going in about that far, about I don't know, like a half an inch, 3/4 of an inch at the most. Then we'll start putting those nutserts in there and get these bolted to the car. All right, there's the first one installed. I think it looks really good. Ignore the dirty car and all the fingerprints, but yeah, I'm really happy with that. I'm gonna finish up this side, get some more experience with the tool, and then I will show how to use the tool on the other side. And as always, I'll have everything that we used today linked in the description below. Basically, all I did was use a small drill bit as a pilot hole, and then I just ramped up sizes until I hit the one that just barely let that insert slide in. You want them to be tight. You don't want to have to like hit them in, but you want it to be snug. So there it is, 1 down, 3. So setup on this is pretty easy. As you run the handles, you can see this piece moving up and down. That actually tells you how far you're going to be squeezing the nutsert into whatever you're putting it into. Plastic doesn't really need that much. If you put too much on it, you could potentially tear it. So what I've been doing is between 4 and 5 millimeters, and the best way to do that is to hold it here and let the entire contraption hang, let these come down, and you can see that it's sitting at 5. We'll do that in just a moment. One other thing I noticed on this, these cheaper ones, obviously this isn't going to be like exact, but if you see it actually dips below the 0 a little bit. So 5 is probably 4 on this because it's 4 and then it goes probably about a tick past 0. So let me set this up real quick to 5. So just sitting here on the bench, now we're around 5, and then what I'll do is I'll hang it like this, and just holding it like this, you can actually know for sure where it's going to sit. So if I spin this, you can see the handles going down. You can see that starting to go down. If I spin this up, it's a little bit harder to go up. But there's about 4 right there by the time you squeeze it all the way to the bottom. You want to make sure that this is straight on to whatever you're pressing. Don't do it at an angle. If you have any issues with it not quite lining up, you can, after you insert this, spin this back onto the car and move the insert around just a little bit. The other thing you can do is, I just had to do it on one because I put it in a bit of an angle because I had tools underneath me while I was doing it, which is a mistake, and I had to add just heat. So I grabbed a heat gun, went around it, softened up the plastic, and then I was able to put this back on it and just kind of maneuver it. But be really careful doing that. You don't want to do that any more than you absolutely have to. So try your best to put it in the right way first. Let's go over to the car, we'll pop this on, and this is actually my last insert. The reason I did that is because I wanted to make sure that I had gotten down all the tips and tricks of this before showing you guys what to do. The other thing I've learned while you're doing this is make sure that you are pushing in. So sometimes the bumper will bow either in or out, and preferably you'd have it bow in just slightly. So here we are, And now I'm straight on and I'm pushing into the bumper. You can see me pushing there. And I'm just going to squeeze this in. And once you're to here, you'll just spin this knob to release it. And now that nutsert is in. If I need to adjust this, for example, I can spin this back on just a little bit. And if I need to move it over this way a little bit, I can do that just a little bit without damaging the paint or the bumper too much. Pull it back out. And now we should be able to install the last canard. This system right here is super simple. And honestly, like, I hear a lot of people breaking these, and I don't know if they're just busting the studs off of this or what, but doing it into plastic or thin metal, you shouldn't have an issue. But if you're trying to run this into like 1/2 inch, plate, working on some sort of bulldozer or tank, I don't see why this one here wouldn't be fine for just small projects. Doing some fender flares, things like this, maybe even a repair if you had damaged a bumper and you needed some more mounting points, little things like that. I don't see why this one would give you any issues.
Bam!